All right, so if you're struggling to hit the ball consistently solid, this video is gonna solve that for you. I'm gonna teach you something I call the power position, and it's incredibly important to hitting the ball crisp every single time. So if you find yourself chunking and hitting behind the golf ball, this will fix that. If you find yourself thinning the golf ball, this will fix that. If you find yourself hearing players on the range or on the course, they hit a shot and it just sounds different. It sounds more solid than the shots that you're getting. This is gonna fix that. If you wanna be able to create consistent power without feeling like you have to swing really hard, this will fix that. So it sounds kind of like this miracle thing that I'm gonna teach you, but there's a lot of physics here that basically are the reason that every great player, you take every single player on the PGA Tour, they're all going to be doing this power position that I'm going to be teaching you. They may do other things different. So they may have a backswing that goes inside like this, or it goes more vertical like that, or at the top of the swing they're across the line or laid off. You see all these different positions throughout the swing, but this one position is going to be incredibly consistent because you just have to do it to hit the ball well. All right, so let's go into it and talk about what it is. Well, the power position is when the hands are in front of the right leg in the downswing. So I like to think of it as a logo of my glove in front of my right leg. I want the club shaft to be about parallel with the ground. Now, if I'm casting it or throwing out like this, when my hands get down to my right leg, the club head is going to be way down here instead of way back here where it needs to be. Now, the reason this is so important is because when I have this lag or this club head lagging behind my hands like this, now as I come through contact, I'm going to let that release and the club is going to fly out of my hands and really accelerate quickly. And that's the only way that you can get a lot of speed without having to feel like you're muscling it. Now, another benefit to this is if I can get this position here, well, as I'm coming to contact, it's going to basically guarantee that even though this club is releasing and this club head is accelerating under its own force, my hands are still going to be leading in front of the club head. So it's almost impossible to go with my hands here. Well, heck, my hands are almost already over top of the golf ball and then flip and have the club back like that. You really just can't do it. So if you can get this one power position right, it pretty much guarantees that your hands get in front at contact. Now, when your hands are in front, that helps you to hit the ball first and then come down and take your divot after the golf ball, which is really going to clean up your strikes and make your contact that much more solid. So what I want you to do this is there's a couple secret pieces. Make sure that you follow these. I'm going to teach you in a minute. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to practice this position. I'm making a little half back swing. I'm going to shift my weight to my left foot. So that's incredibly important for getting into this power position I'm going to talk about. I'm going to shift my weight to my front foot. I'm going to let my hips start to open up slightly as I'm doing that. So a little half back swing, shift left, open the hips, and then let my hands come down in this power position. That's the first piece. Do that a few times to get the feeling of it. Shift left, open hips, hands in front of the right leg, club parallel to the ground. Now, the next piece with it is if I'm standing up out of my posture, I'm going to do that exact same thing again, but instead of having my hands almost waist high, I'm going to feel like my hands are getting close to my knee level. So my hands should be about 4 or 5 inches above my knee if I'm doing this correctly. So a little weight shift to the left, open the hips, make sure the hands are about 4 or 5 inches above the knee. That's in a great position for this power position. Now, most players, when they try to get their weight left, open the hips, that club starts to tip out this way, and that can cause you to be steep and over the top, which we don't want to do. So a good solution for this is I'm going to put a club on the ground, kind of going down my toes, and I'm going to have that facing toward the target. I'm not going to worry about lining that up perfectly here today. You'll get the idea. But if I'm over the top, then as I get into this power position, my club is going to be out here. So yes, my hands will be in front of my right leg. My club will be parallel to the ground. But if I'm looking at it from down the line, it's not going to be parallel with my target line. It's going to be out here. I actually want you to be, and this is a little known thing with great players, but if you look at great players, when their club is parallel to the ground in the downswing, it actually won't be facing toward the target. It'll be slightly inside of the target line. So we're going to do this power position again. Weight shift to the left, hips open, hands are low, and then I'm making sure the club is actually inside of this line on the ground that's going toward my target. So now it's in here. That's going to guarantee that I'm coming from the inside, I'm releasing the club inside out, and I'm hitting a nice tight little draw. Now, there's a lot of physics that I'm not going to get into the details here, but there's one that's called parametric acceleration. Basically, it means as you turn an angle, imagine a skier being pulled behind a boat. Well, as that boat turns an angle, it slings the skier through there. Same thing's happening here. My hands reach a low point, kind of in front of my right leg here, when this club's parallel. And then as my body keeps on rotating, my hands are actually going to move back up, and this club head, or the skier, is going to be slung through the golf ball. That's where you get the easy speed. Now, the cool thing about this is if you have the club a little bit to the inside, like I just talked about, as that club is slung through there under its own momentum, like that skier being slung under its own momentum, the club's going to sling from the inside, and your path, or the direction the club is swinging, is naturally going to be a little bit inside out, or be that nice tight draw. So again, that's from coming through here in the downswing, making sure that it doesn't get tipped out this way. So let's hit the checkpoints again. Little half swings, weight shift to left, hips open. Hands are going to be about right here, just above the knee, club shaft parallel to the ground, club from the inside, and then from there I just keep on rotating. I feel like the club head or that skier is being flung out away from my body, and I'm letting the momentum of the head do the work rather than me trying to muscle it. That's what I call the power position. If you can do that, you're gonna hit some pretty daggone good, solid shots. So now let's go ahead. I'm gonna do a little half swing here again. I got a 6-iron, and you'll notice I'm gonna swing really nice and smooth, but using this technique, I can get a lot of good distance and hit solid shots without putting out a ton of effort. There we go, 195 carry with a 6-iron. That may have looked like a pretty full swing. Let's slow it down a little bit. I can't overestimate enough just how powerful this is. Let me make what feels like a little quarter swing. So just nice and smooth on the way back and way through. I'm just gonna make sure that I do the power position correctly though. There we go. Again, draw happened automatically. 172, and I felt like I barely even swung at all. I felt like I put out almost no effort. My body just kind of rotated through and that club just got slung around. That's so much easier when you're getting these right positions like what you're seeing all the great ball strikers in the world do. Now, if you feel like you're rushing your swing, that can be really tough. You see, if you feel like you're rushing from the top, yeah, you may want to hit this position, but it feels impossible because you've already kind of burned up all this energy, started to cast the club, and no matter what you try, that quick transition or that rushing the start of the downswing feels like it's messing up everything to where it's already out of position by the time you get down here and there's nothing you can do about it. Well, I have the perfect video. There's actually something that you could be doing with your hands, but if you're doing this incorrectly, it could be causing you to steepen up the club shaft and be quick in transition, and there's almost nothing you could do about it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play a preview of that video here in a second. If you wanna watch the full video, go ahead and just click the card that pops up on your screen or the link down below in the description. I'll show you exactly what's going on that's causing that quick downswing. And once you solve that, this power position will feel so much easier to get into. So best of luck, and let's go ahead and get started. Now, the bottom line is that if you pull this club down to ring that bell or pull the hands more from the inside, what's gonna happen is you start to rush your downswing from that pulling, and that can throw off your sequence. And we all know that once your sequence gets off, that is gonna be the root cause of all your problems. Now, maybe you're being outdriven way too often, or you're terribly inconsistent with your strikes. Some of your shots are heavy, some of them are thin, some of them are off the toe, and then the next ones are way off the heel. Now you end up way over in the trees, you're in the tall grass, or maybe even the hazards all day long, and it really comes down to this. Clay, how in the heck do we fix it? Well, there's some good news. Well, there's only two things that you need to learn. First, you need to learn to shallow the club rather than pulling the hands down and getting the shaft in this steep position. You see, there's another way that the pros do this, and once you start to get that club on this shallower plane, more from the inside, then you pair that up with the right way to square the club face. And once you put these two things together, everything starts to fit in your swing. Now your buddies will start to get a little bit jealous because you'll start hitting solid, longer drives, time after time, and round after round. Now I'm gonna teach you this right now in what I call the E-slot technique. Let's walk through exactly how to do it. So here's what I want you to do. Go ahead and take a swing to the top and get in a really good position. I want you to feel like your weight is mostly shifted to your right side and that your hips and shoulders are nice and free. I don't want to be locked up here. I want my knees to move, my hips to move, and that's going to allow me to swing my shoulders very nicely. Now, one thing that most people get wrong when they swing to the top is they don't get this tilt away from the target. So instead of being straight up and down or leaning to the left, I want to be slightly tilted away in what I call the stable fluid spine in my top speed golf system. Okay, so now that you're at this great position at the top of the swing, what I want you to do is instead of pulling those arms straight down or ringing the bell, that's going to get the club shaft steep and get this elbow kind of flapping behind your body. I want you to do something very specific. I want you to take the tip of your elbow and move it in a specific way. Now, not this small bone on the inside of your elbow, but I want it to be right here at the tip, and here's what I want you to do.